So the other day I was having a conversation where the person told me that when it comes to technology marketing, channel partners have become the focal point for everything. And they told me that this changes everything for how vendors and the wider channel should be approaching marketing. Obviously, I was eager to find out more. But this person is here with me today. It's Ali Dodd. She's a marketing expert who works for Revere. Welcome, Ali.
Hello, nice to be here.
Yeah, Ali, could you just start off by introducing yourself?
I can, yes. So I'm Ali Dodd, and I'm, as you say, Chief Strategy Officer at Revere. Revere is a strategic B2B technology marketing agency. It's quite long, but the key word there is strategic. So my role really is to help our clients go to market in the most effective way so that they can really show up for their audiences and stand out in their category. So I develop and lead our strategic marketing services to really help clients to do more for their partners and end buyers and ultimately achieve marketing success. So I have been in the industry for a very long time. I know no specifics on that, but over 20 years. And I actually sort of started my career in a distributor, actually. And then since then, a very steady flow of agencies working on B2B tech. So I've been in the field a long time.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, let's get straight down to it. You talk about frontline partners having their moment in the sun. So, what do you mean by this?
Yes, so clearly partnerships have always been about sales and service and scalability and all of that. And we know everyone in the value chain has to be responsible for customer success because that's where the channel's leading. But resellers are obviously they're on the front line, they're closest to the customer. So right from day dot, their function was to be a supporting revenue stream. But really, a shift has occurred around that model, which has made that role more critical than it ever has been. So, because they're at the sharp end with the customer has changed, how they buy has changed. God knows we all know the world has changed. So, they have more access and choice than ever before. There's channels and they can decide which vendors to buy from, which brands to buy from. If you're buying as tech has advanced, their buying journeys have become quite complicated and lengthy. Tech is everyone's business now, so there's more business people involved in that decision process. And it's become really kind of complex and non-linear and non-predictable. And as I say, there's so many brands now competing to get their attention, let alone get their focus, build their interest. So as a result of all of that, buyers' expectations and their demands are much higher, and their choices are more vast than ever before. Um, so really, all comes down to the experience they get from beginning to end is who they're going to kind of work with. And I saw a really interesting stat actually from Salesforce that said the highest number it's ever been, 88% of customers say the experience they get is just as important as the product they get. So I think, that's really, really telling about how that sort of shift is kind of panning out. And because it's so complicated to navigate buying tech, they're really looking for convenience. They don't have time. They want convenience. They want it to be personalized. They want to feel valued and really guidance to help navigate that journey. So you can start to see why partners have become really essential to delivering that experience. And partners themselves really need to stay very relevant to deliver that and sustain those customer relationships if they want to see ongoing success. And of course, then that translates to sustainable growth throughout the channel. And another stat, Canalys predicted that channel partners will account for 73% of the total IT market this year. And I think that also goes to show that shift that's taken place that, in order to win mind share and wallet share, that we need to go kind of beyond transactional partners and embrace sort of strategic partners that have the expertise, the specialisms, and the customer base to really accelerate time to value for vendors and show buyers the way forward. Because partners, because it's face to face and all of that, they can achieve a reach and relationships that research and data just can't buy, right? So they're becoming a much more strategic revenue stream for the channel for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. And everybody loves a good Canales stat, for sure.
But don't they?
Yeah,
I
they do.
didn't have it, I didn't have it to hand, and I found it for that very
Yeah.
reason.
So, so the killer question, what implications does this shift have for how vendors and partners should be approaching their marketing strategy?
Yeah, so I'm going to go a bit broad and kind of cover everything. And I think so. I said I'd been in the industry, since the dinosaurs, right? So I think it's really important because I remember partner marketing was, and I'm sure a lot of people do, that there was a space on co-branded materials where you could put a stamp, where a partner could put a stamp and things like that. And I think, obviously we've moved on, but I think it is still that idea that kind of partner marketing is a little bit separate and a little bit secondary. And so I think really it's about flipping the channel focus. So the channel obviously is vendor down to customer. And I think it's about, right, how do we think about the customer first and then enable the partner to deliver against that? And then kind of the vendor and the distributors kind of a secondary to the value that can be added around that. So what does the end customer need to go on this journey? And it really, by thinking about that, really helps define what your partners need to take to market. So what does the partner journey look like? I'm not sure that's a question that kind of gets considered very often. So as an example of what I'm talking about, if you think about AI, it's about what are the likely use cases and customer scenarios around AI so that then you can support your partners and train them before you sort of get straight to the product itself. Because just telling partners product information won't allow them to facilitate the buyer journeys we're seeing today and have those real face-to-face conversations with customers who go, what are you talking about? So really it's about that scene setting and then that nurture through their journey. So I think ultimately it's about looking at partner marketing with really fresh eyes and question kind of old approaches, because common practice isn't really best practice today. So think about how you're going to go to market and what your strategies look like that are driven by what the partner realistically needs to put the customer first. And of course, grow their own business as a result. So rip up the old rule books, and just to really quickly give you 3 examples of that. So to partner marketing. So do some campaigns and things like that as you would with a customer. So treat the partner as you would a customer. Do some really cool stuff for them rather than them kind of be a sideline. You want to engage partners. You want to build knowledge with them. You want to show the advantages of working for you. How can you help them with the buyer journey for themselves and their customers? Do scenario walkthroughs that they can sit in front of a customer and go through them with them. Do value guides, do all sorts of really interesting things, interactivity, all sorts. And don't forget about your unmanaged partners as well. As a bit of a tip from us is really, you've got this long tail. It's always the great unknown, but they're not being optimized. So get to know them and their challenges and their customers and what value you can add there, because marketing is a great way to do heavy lifting with a breadth of partners, rather than kind of have to have kind of individual things going on. Second and third is through partner marketing and with partner marketing. So you really want a partner-led strategy. You want to involve them, you want to empower them so that they can start conversations with customers, give them insights that they can use from the market, give them those scenarios that they can take to customers, and then give them the training and resources additionally around that so that they can position vendor solutions in the right context, but most importantly, right time, right way, right place, right person, right? So it's really important that partners have a seat at that table. They shouldn't be an afterthought, and they shouldn't be given the customer marketing campaign that you did a week ago because that's what happened to date. It should really be get them involved as part of the strategy. And then finally, with partner marketing, of course, have a joint marketing strategy. Combine your strengths, your knowledge to open up more opportunities with customers and really reinforce the partner, because that's what you want to do. We as an agency have seen so many more joint value propositions landing on our desks than we've ever had before. And it's much more about companies thinking, right, how can we have that authentic narrative that shows the value we provide as two is greater than the value we provide as one. And above all, I think all of this, don't be dull, don't be corporate. Partners are such a human audience. You can really have some fun with partner marketing and engage, them and through them. Have a festival, do some interactive marketing, ask partners what they would like to see, make them feel really valued, and then they can help make customers feel really valued. But don't just reinvent the same wheel over and over.
Well, there's some great advice there. So I mean, you mentioned a couple of kind of marketing terminologies there, but having spoken to you previously, I know that there's also a new buzz around the term near-bound marketing. So I'm sure most marketing experts will be aware. For a relative outsider like me, I'm not aware of what the term means. It's relatively new. So what do we need to know about that phrase?
Yeah, I mean, people might not actually have heard of it. It's actually very early days around about marketing. But the reason I sort of mentioned it to you was it really does kind of enforce everything I'm talking about. So it's a very early concept around how can we rip up the rule book? How can B2B companies tap into the potential of their partner ecosystem in ways they haven't thought about before? So obviously near bound refers to the partner who are near bound to the customer. Um, and but it really it's called near bound because you think of it in the same way as you would inbound marketing, outbound marketing. So when we do marketing activity, it's mostly inbound, and you think about, if you're doing a customer campaign, you think about all the different content along their journey that will inspire them to keep moving forward, essentially. So it's really considering nearbound as a layer that blends into that. So you're using your partner intelligence and their influence across the buyer journey to make choices that are both customer first and partner enabled. So it's like a big picture view rather than treating everything separately. So as an example, you might look at your overlaps that you have as a vendor and as a strategic partner, and change up who you kind of communicate to, when and how. You might say, all right, we want that to go through the partner, we'll do this, and you split things up slightly differently. You can obviously also learn more about those key customers from the partners you already know, so that you can work better to solve challenges, work as one unit. You can identify opportunities within your entire ecosystem, not within your individual businesses. There's a lot of silos that happen today. As I say, customer, partner, partners have their own kind of strategy depending on their size. So it's really, how do you share the insights, the data, the knowledge from the market to the customer to drive sales as collaborative partnerships? So it's really about going to market with those strategic partners who already have a customer base that trust, respect, and influence them. And that customer base is your target market. So how are we going to work together slightly differently? So it's very early days as to what that's going to look like and how that's going to pan out. But it's a really good indication that everything I'm talking about is where the world is heading. Really rethink everything you've ever done to really unleash your partner power and kind of benefit from that collaboration.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thanks, Ali. And that's really good advice as well. Finally, what would your parting advice be to those tuning in?
So I think everyone gets caught up in their own worlds, right? And we're all guilty of this, I think. But it ultimately comes down to customers want the best experience, and they need guidance and help to do it, to get to where they want to be. And the IT channel wants partners who are best equipped to deliver that experience. So it's really about, forget, things that have just been standard practice. How are you going to create customer mission control? Do everything it takes to be the brand and the partner that a customer chooses and sticks with. Because it's important to say customer experience is everyone's battleground. Everyone is having the same conversation or concern. Everyone is trying to win the same customers. So really it's about doing whatever it takes to get the right mix of expertise, services, solutions, marketing, guidance, and so on to drive that customer success. So really quickly for vendors and disties, do what you can to help your resellers and MSPs be partners for their customers, not product salespeople. Be an enabler, build those tight two-way relationships, listen to their knowledge about customers, and be in tune with the market so that you can help enable them to make it more real. And then for the partners themselves, how can you become part of the fabric of your customer's business? Don't be a salesperson, be a partner, connect with what they need, know what's happening in your market, and leverage everything that vendies and disties have to offer and add value to be in tune with every business. And you can become really sticky along their buying journey and their ongoing buying journey, because businesses don't just buy once, right? So you want to have that ongoing relationship. So yeah, it's really about customer mission control, rip up the rule book and start thinking about it slightly differently.
Well, you heard it here from the expert. So just to wrap up, I've definitely learned some new terms today, including near-bound marketing. But I think the thing that stood out the most for me from what you said was the need to flip the channel. Flip the channel is what you said, which is not bad work for 15 minutes to flip the entire channel on its head. Yeah, and also what you were saying, your advice to vendors not to treat partner marketing as an afterthought, but to treat partners more as more like customers. And I guess the advice for partners would be to try to find vendors and distributors who see them in that light, not the traditional light. So all that remains is for me to thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. I really appreciate it.